Hello again, chaps and chapettes, how are we all doing? It is lovely to see you all again. As always, as you could probably tell by my exasperated sigh there, we are concentrating tonight on yet another boat person who has committed a certain type of assault on a teenage girl, a type of assault I will be referring to as SA during the course of this video simply to please the YouTube algorithm. Although I'm sure you are well aware of the type of assault I am indeed referring to. Now, these types of stories are coming thick and fast over the last 6 months, my friends. Even today, this very day, the 6th of August, a young woman was SA'd in Nuneaton, I believe it was. Another happened on the 4th of this month, and another happened on the 3rd of this month. Almost a daily occurrence. It's come to a point now where I truly believe I could run my whole YouTube channel on a daily basis using nothing but stories such as these. Yet I'll be concentrating on a particular case tonight, my friends, that happened just a few short weeks ago, especially for the wording of the judge and his extremely lenient prison sentence. A channel migrant has been handed a 14-month prison sentence. Now, keep that in mind, my friends. 14 months, right? After he essayed an extremely vulnerable teenage girl who has learning difficulties in a park in broad daylight. Aaron Hadish, I think that's his name, 27 from Eritrea, who was living at a taxpayer-funded holiday in near Heathrow, attacked a 19-year-old in June last year after she had been sent by her mother to pick up fruit from a food bank. I have to be careful what I say here, guys, because the Daily Mail doesn't spare us any graphic details here, and I don't think YouTube will appreciate me reading out to you what actually happened to this poor defenceless young girl, so I'll just phrase it the best I can. A court heard on Friday how he pursued her to a park in Fulham, West London. I mean, quelle surprise, Sadiq Khan's fucking London yet again. Which, astonishingly, my friends, has been voted one of the safest cities in the whole of Europe. Let's just forego the countless attacks with bladed implements, the countless murders that happen within that city, the countless R-words and the SAs that happened on a daily fucking basis. Whoever dreamt up that needs locking up. Nothing but unadulterated bollocks. Where he pinned her on his lap and grabbed various parts of her body for several minutes before she escaped. She said he was laughing as she ran away. Of course he was laughing, because these people do not give a shiny shite. They see young white girls as lower forms than dogs. They are gutter trash to these people. That's why they think they can get away with doing what the fuck they want with the women and girls in this country. Hadish, who illegally entered the UK around 3 years ago after crossing the Channel, was caught 5 weeks later after the teenager spotted him while out shopping with her mother. What a horrible turn of events that must have been, being essayed by this perverse fucking animal and seeing him again whilst out and about with her mum. Horrible. I'm telling you now, guys, that happened also in places like Rotherham and Telford. These victims of the Pakistani R-word gangs saw their attackers while out and about and delivering pizzas to their houses. I mean, nothing short of absolute horrific. Who was caught 5 weeks later after the teenager spotted him whilst out shopping with her mother. Members of the public detained him until the police arrived. Prosecutor Sam Barker told Isleworth Crown Court the victim has a number of learning difficulties, which means she presents as very childlike and has an extreme vulnerability. One of the main reasons, I guarantee, as to why he approached her. A 19-year-old coming off as an 8-year-old, very vulnerable. I mean, it's just a number one target. You may as well put just a bullseye on the back of that poor girl's back and just shove her into a migrant hotel, if you ask me. Poor girl. Now, guys, I'm going to skip through most of this. I'm going to move on to what the judge and the court actually said during this trial. I mean, this will make your jaw drop to the fucking floor. Judge Alistair Rolfe Hamilton told him, "I understand your conditions in prison are more challenging because English is not your first language." Who gives a fucking shite? If I was in charge of the justice system in this country, This perverse animal, if he had to serve his time in this country, of course, would be in the basement of any prison I could find that was damp, filled with cockroaches, and nothing but a bucket to piss and shit in, which, I might add, would only be emptied once every 2 weeks. So his jail cell smelt like a urinal. Who gives a fuck what this animal's prison conditions are? Of course, UK judges and UK courtrooms obviously care. Don't give a shit about the victim. It's all about the perpetrator now, and it makes me sick. He explained that Hadash was intoxicated at the time of the offence. Oh, that's okay then. Pissed up, you can essay whoever the fuck you want. At the time of the offence, and said he posed a high risk of sexual reoffending, adding, your victim was an extremely vulnerable person. She felt scared and vulnerable. He said the court had to proceed on the... Check this out, my friends, right? He said the court had to proceed on the assumption Hadash was a man of good character. This was actually said during the trial. He has essayed a vulnerable, disabled 19-year-old girl, and we have to assume he's a man of good morals. And you know why? Simply because they can't do any checks on this animal to see if he has other convictions where he actually came from. Man of good morals. I cannot get my head around this. I am utterly speechless. I really am. I'm going to end on this note, my friends. Just how far can parents and concerned members of the public be pushed in this country by stories such as these? As I mentioned earlier, these are not isolated incidents. These are almost a daily occurrence. Each and every one of these women and girls that falls victim to these predatory monsters are someone's daughter, sister, cousin, niece or mother. I'm simply astonished no huge mob of people has stolen one of these hotels and forcibly ejected these people. Of course, this is something I wouldn't condone, but I'm amazed that something so drastic hasn't happened yet. The government nor the police will remove these people, so I'm willing to bet somewhere down the line that members of the public will see to it themselves. I'm not going to use the overused cliche of a civil war in this country, but it's difficult not to touch on the subject with the current mess we are in at the moment. And just to touch on before I go, guys, 14 months for essaying a young, disabled, vulnerable young girl. Wayne O'Rourke, by the way, I'm sorry to keep going over this, guys, but these are prime examples for stories such as these. Wayne O'Rourke got 3 years for sending a tweet. Lucy Connolly, how long did she get? Let's have a quick look. Lucy Connolly, 31 months in jail for a tweet. This bastard gets 14 months. Can you explain that to me? Because I am at a complete loss. Anyway, my friends, that's my video. Carpe diem as always. Let me know what you think in the comments. Oh, and I'll see you in a bit. What an absolute piss take.